Chairman.
Oh, you've been put wrong.
Mr Chair.
Louisa Wall.
Tēnā koe, Mr Chair. Thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the committee stage debate on the land transfer bill. And it's quite timely for me because I'm going to pick up on where my colleague Mika Whaitere left off. And in doing so, I'd just firstly like to acknowledge the Law Commission's 2010 report, A New Land Transfer Act, which is 342 pages long. And they completed this review of the Land Transfer Act 1952 and the two subsequent amendment acts, the Land Transfer Amendment Act 1963 and the Land Transfer Computer Registration and Electronic Lodgement Amendment Act 2002. Now, contained within that particular Law Commission report is Recommendation 21, which in fact it was that there should be an in-depth review into the registration of Māori land. So what my colleague Mika Whaitere has brought up is actually germane and pertinent to part one. And I'm very interested in the Minister's comment about a document that I've just got. It's the Land Information New Zealand Land Transfer Bill Addendum to the main departmental report. And actually the government did respond to the Law Commission recommendation, and in fact they asked for Te Puni Kōkiri, LINZ and the Ministry of Justice to investigate the issues and report back to ministers on what, if any, aspects of the Māori land registration should be subject to the review. The recommendation of that process, however, was that a review of the relationship between the two acts was not deemed to be needed, appropriate. So I'm really interested to know whether the Minister and the Chair agrees with that, or why they came and how they came to that conclusion, because I think it's important that we address such issues. I've been trying to find an alternative to Torrens, actually, because it seems we've got one type of registration process, and in fact it was created in 1858 by Sir Robert Richard Torrens, who was the third Premier of South Australia. And the reason it was created in South Australia was because the context of the early 1800s was a booming land speculation environment. And so at that time they granted lands, and apparently there were 40,000 lands that were granted, and over a period of time 75% of those lands were actually lost, so no one actually knew who owned them. So I can understand why the system was created, but it seems it hasn't evolved and there doesn't seem to be any alternatives. I've Googled, and strata seems to be a system that's used, but that's about multiple ownership of single dwellings. But I just wonder if there's anywhere else in the world, or if the Minister and the Chair knows of any other systems, because the whole intention of this legislation, as was highlighted in the Law Commission's report, is that they wanted a bill to be clear, effective and fair. And so I just want to commend the Law Commission for their work, because I think creating a bill like this, which seems to have general support of the House, it is an incredibly technical bill, which is what we've been briefed on and making contributions to the House tonight. But just from my perspective, I'm really interested to know whether there are any other registration systems, because basically the purpose of this bill is to simplify land transactions and to certify to the ownership of an absolute title to property. And so that's all that this bill is wanting to do. But just from my curious perspective, I'm wondering if there are other systems that they use in other jurisdictions. But I am also very, very interested in the Minister's agreement or otherwise about the relationship between Te Turu Whenua Māori Act and the registration of Māori land and this land transfer bill, as my colleague Mika Whaitere has highlighted. Kia ora.
Mr Chair.
The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.
I'm interested